Welcome everybody, welcome to our channel. Today we want to talk about some of our very special memories that we've shared with Disney throughout these years and what has made it so special in our hearts, and we hope it is in yours as well.
Everybody, thank you for joining us. I'm Len, my wife Diane, and we've been going to Disney for a few years.
Well, that would mean that we're pretty old, but I guess that's kind of true too.
That's true.
But
that's
yeah,
okay.
The truth be told, though, Disney was my thing way before it was your thing.
Yeah, I like to tell
raised...
people I married into Disney.
Yeah, and I'm afraid Disney is in my blood, and I was raised Disney, and it was very much a part of my life. My parents say that they went to Disney so often that we kids took it for granted, and they realized maybe that was a problem, and they had to kind of tone it back. Which,
Do you remember your very first trip or something special from that very first one? Or were you too young?
Too young. It was just always a part of my life. I remember being so small that I was being held on the shoulders during the parade, and Santa Claus was in the parade going down Main Street. It was, of course, the holiday parade, and he was throwing out toys to the children. And my older brother, who's 2 years older than me, was allowed to run out and get a toy. And I was up on the shoulders, and they would not let me get down and get a toy. And I'm still bitter.
That's childhood tragedy right there.
Still hurting.
I don't remember exactly how old I was for my first time, but my grandparents took us, and I remember distinctly, I must have been about 7 or 8 or 9, and I remember distinctly riding the Matterhorn and the bobsled, and I was little, so that meant I was in front of a group of adults because the chairs used to be sit between each other's legs, and I was on the very front of the nose, hanging over. And this was when the Matterhorn was open inside. There was just, you could see all the tracks.
When the tram ran through the center.
Yes. And so I remember being very afraid, hanging over the front. Now it's one of my favorite rides, but it scared me as a kid. So.
But I can remember as a child that my parents would put me to sleep each night with Disney music. I guess it's kind of like, us using our iPhones today, but they had a record player in my room, and they would put on records, and this is the one I remember the most, listening to Cinderella on the record player and falling asleep to that each night, and that was my favorite. So we now have the Walt Disney collection of records that we keep here in our Disney room, and those are very special. The only problem is we no longer own a record player to play them on. Yeah. We'll have to work on that one. But yeah, that was one of my very earliest memories. So my family, it wasn't just my, brother and I and mom and dad that would go. Usually it would be our family with all of the cousins and aunts and uncles and grandma. And it was a large production, and how my parents endured that, I just don't know. Sometimes we camped. Sometimes we, broke the bank and went to a hotel, and that was a really big deal in my family. And sometimes it was just the marathon, drive down, do the parks, drive home, middle of the night, kind of thing. And we lived in Northern California, so that wasn't like a easy trek. So yeah, it was fun. But having all of the cousins and doing Disney with all of the cousins, those were magical moments that I can remember, each kid at different ages. And we still to this day now take our kids and the cousins and their kids and love repeating that again and again, year after year.
Which, if you watch some of our other videos, we're planning a trip in September, and we're taking my nieces and my sister and brother-in-law.
For the first time.
We've gone with family from her side. This is the first time going with some family on my side. And so it's been really special. We're going to share a number of other memories throughout our adult years, and a few of them include when we've gone on some of these family trips. So it's really
highly
special.
recommend the multi-generational trips.
Absolutely.
That was Walt's intention, that it wasn't just for children. It was so everyone could enjoy that special place. And there truly is something for every age group. And heaven knows now, in my lifetime, I've experienced it at every age. And
Right.
it's so wonderful.
Well, let's get right into some other experiences and moments that we had. We have gone to Alani, Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line, Disney Studios. So we've got a bunch of memories. We obviously can't hit them all. We'll probably have a part 2, part 3, no. We're going to just start with this video right now, and then we'll see where it takes us.
So by the time I met you, I realized that I needed to help you understand Disney.
Well, understand it your way. I've gone to Disney a couple times.
On
but
our
yeah.
honeymoon,
Yes.
we went to Disney World.
Yes.
And that was Disney World for the first time for you. And
That was before Animal Kingdom.
But right after Epcot had opened.
Right.
1986 was when we got married. And we went to the Magic Kingdom as well as Epcot. We, of course, were not rich enough to stay on property at that time. So we were staying off property. And to this day, I can't even remember where that was or how it seems so far away. But
Yeah.
I do remember that trip was hotter than blazes because it was August in Florida. So
Yeah.
I don't know that I would do that again, but back in those years, we were just thrilled to be able to be
We
there.
loved it, and it was fun.
Yeah.
It was a great way to do a honeymoon, and it was just added a sense of whimsy and a great way to start our life together off with something that we both loved. Well, she was more than loved. I mean, fanatical about, and I appreciated. And now I've been sucked into the craziness, and we've gone lots of times. So,
But by the time our daughter arrived, we
yeah.
absolutely had to share our love with Disney with her. And so
Yes.
she literally,
she's been more times
as an
than she
infant,
can remember.
she was raised on Disney.
Yeah.
I can remember one of my earliest memories with her is she was still in her stroller and wheeling her around Disneyland. And of course, our last name is Banks. And so when we came upon Mary Poppins realized that our little daughter's shoe was untied and stopped in the middle of her path through the park to stop and tie the shoe of little Nikki Banks. And I thought, isn't that perfect that Mary Poppins is still taking care of the Banks children? It was just like one of those magical moments.
It would be nice to believe that she knew we were the Banks family.
Well,
but probably not.
It's just as things should be.
Yes, it was just wonderful.
As the Banks family were being taken care of by Walt and Mary Poppins.
Another trip that we went on when she was still in a stroller, very little girl. We went with your brother and your father and mom and your brother's wife and his boys. And all of us went to Disney World on the 25th anniversary.
Yes.
On the controversial year where they decorated the castle like a birthday cake.
I thought it was beautiful.
I thought so too. I thought it was very
magical.
creative and unique.
It was over the top, but it was fun over the top.
But we took a great family photo in front of the castle. The problem was, though, that day was raining cats and dogs.
It was during the holidays, and so we were trying to capture the holidays as well as the 25th anniversary.
Yeah, and we were all in the yellow ponchos.
It was the most horrific, stormy weather during that time.
And your nephew yelled out while we were trying to take the photo. What did he yell out? I hate this.
I hate this trip, or I hate this place.
It was so funny.
They just had it.
And then we went to an after-hours Christmas party where they
Totally
had the
rained
fake
out.
bubble
Totally rained
snow, and it was raining, and we had all these imaginings of wearing denim and jeans, coordinated outfits, and we're all soaked. And,
yeah.
But they were giving out the warm cookies, and it was just, it was
Cocoa
fun.
and cookies.
And the memory isn't so much that it's Disney, but that we did this thing as a family.
That we endured the typhoon together.
Oh my goodness. It was so cold, so wet, so fun. So fun.
And that actually was the trip where the kids were chosen to lead the parade.
Yeah.
Disney captured us out in front of the Chinese studios, the Chinese theater at Hollywood Studios, which was then MGM Grand or MGM...
The MGM Studios.
The MGM Studios, Hollywood Studios. And they were using children to carry the Yule log and to lead the Beauty and the Beast parade because they had just premiered the Beauty and the Beast Christmas movie. And so our 3 children were this delightful age, and they thought they would have this charming stair-step of children to lead the parade. The only problem was our youngest Nikki was maybe too young. And the first moment she walked out in the parade and spotted me in the crowd, panicked and threw down her prop, which was a candle that they were supposed to carry under their chin, and threw it down. It shattered. She ran out of the parade and ran to me, and I had to carry her through the parade. So, yeah, Disney's
It's
probably
fine.
like, note to self, don't choose the little ones.
I'm sure they're used to having some children not as cooperative
The boys
as others.
did fabulously and did exactly what they were supposed to do, and it turned out fine. But yeah, our daughter has blocked that from her memories, and we just think it's priceless. It was just so characteristic that she was not gonna
we've
follow
gone
the cues.
Exactly. We've gone to Disney, like we said, on our honeymoon. But we've also gone on some of our anniversaries. We've done an anniversary cruise up into Canada, and that was really wonderful. But we also went one year, and if you've watched another video of ours on some of the items in our room, we went to Victoria and Albert's. Once in a lifetime sort of thing. You have to save up for that one. But it was an incredible meal, and we've got our customized menus with our names on them. And I'm going to show you a photo because one of the experiences was this coffee siphon. And I love coffee. I'm a coffee enthusiast. And so they brought the siphon to the table, and I'm showing the video in case you have no idea what a siphon was. I didn't know prior to this. And so this was just, whoa, what's happening here? I came home and I bought a siphon, and I use it every once in a while. It's such a great thing.
But it was such a crescendo to the amazing meal.
Absolutely. That was one of the best meals I have ever had in my life. And frankly, it should be for what it cost. But it was so good.
But it's once in a lifetime, and you just...
Absolutely.
You have to, tick it off your list, especially if you're a Disney fanatic, and you enjoy the Disney dining and all the experiences you can have. I mean, people think that theme parks are just burgers and pizza and
Absolutely not.
hot dogs.
Yeah.
And Disney is just not that anymore. It has all kinds of wonderful
restaurants,
opportunities,
great experiences,
and yummy things to try and taste and experience while you're there. So, one of the other things that we love doing as a family, and it wasn't until our daughter was about 4 years old that we discovered not only going to the parks, but then tacking on the Disney Cruise Line with that experience. We did Land and Sea package the first time we ever did it. And we did the parks the first 3 days and did Disney Cruise Line the next 4 days. And our eyes were opened. We're like, oh my goodness, this is what vacation is supposed to be. That we had all the fun and exertion and excitement of Disney parks, but by the time you hit the cruise line, that's when you can relax and enjoy and have food and just, it's so wonderful. And we fell in love with Disney cruising and have not stopped since. And so we have so many memories of Disney cruising. It seems like we raised our daughter on the Disney Magic as our vacation home because we went back so often.
We loved the Magic.
She was so familiar with it.
Yeah.
And we tried every cruise we could possibly think of to experience it a different way. We've done the short cruises, we've done the long cruises, we've done the Eastern Caribbean, the Western Caribbean, we've done the coast to coast where we went from Disneyland through the Panama Canal to the Disney World. And just to throw things in and make it more exciting, we had a hurricane en route.
We had a Hurricane Hillary on the West Coast, which kept us out of one of our ports in Mexico. And then, sadly, while we were on the cruise going through the Caribbean, the
Hurricane
Katrina was happening, and so that was very sad to experience because a number of people on the cruise were from that region or had family members. But the cruise was very special, and one of our very special memories was a night we were in the restaurant. They had a number of dignitaries there on the cruise.
Many wonderful people sailed with us during that cruise.
Right.
It was very special.
And so one was Roy Disney, and he signed a menu here. And there's a little bit of a story for that because Diane saw him sitting across the room, and we, of course, had our menus here. And she asked our server, can you get him to sign that?
So you have to understand, Disney employees are very special. I mean, cast members as a whole are just wonderful, magical people that their entire reason for being is to make my life special, I think. Because they'll do almost anything for you if you ask them. And this was one of those special asks. I mean, you think about it, Roy Disney, that is not the boss, but I mean, the boss.
Yeah.
Right? He's the man. And here he is in this man's restaurant. And it wasn't just our server, it was the maitre d'.
Right.
But we had made friends with him, and he had been very kind to us and wonderful, keeping us very comfortable our entire cruise. So asking him to get the autograph of Roy Disney was a big ask. But I kind of am a big believer in the big ask.
What are they going to do? They're going to just say no. Or do it.
Yeah. And he did it. He did it, Ross.
He was sort of instructed not to do that again, but Roy was wonderful and
but he was still employed the next cruise we were on, so we felt good. But yeah, it's priceless to us, and I know, I mean, maybe it was a little inconvenient to Roy Disney to be disrupted during his meal, but hello!
But he was gracious and signed it, so that was wonderful. Hey, another time we went on a cruise in 2011. We heard in the news that it was going to be happening, but we didn't realize it was going to coordinate with our cruise. It was the final launch of the Space Shuttle Discovery. And it happened while we were boarding the cruise, and they delayed the disembarkation. No, they delayed leaving port. Let's say it that way. And so they instructed everybody to go up and find a spot on the deck and look towards Cape Canaveral across the bay, and then we could see the shuttle take off and the smoke trail in the sky, and then they rang the Disney bell, the horns, and then eventually we started our deck party and left port.
But the excitement, just going to the ship, the crowds headed towards Port Canaveral and lining the roads, waiting to watch that, and then for us to be able to pull up to the Disney Cruise Line and have what felt like front row seats to this moment in history.
It really was.
It really was fascinating.
And we made a video of it, of course, way back then, not knowing we would ever have anything like YouTube.
And it was absolutely not planned, and it just happened.
Yeah.
It's one of those magical moments that just happened.
Speaking of cruises still?
Yeah, like one of the really fun things about becoming a Disney Vacation Club member, and there's lots of really fun things that happen with that, but by being a Disney Vacation Club member, you are able to go on member cruises, and these are very special cruises where basically Vacation Club has, exclusively got the whole ship, and it's full of people just like us that are just crazy nuts about Disneyland and Disney cruising, and I mean, just wonderful, special things that they do and gifts that they give you. And the fascinating thing about me is I not only love Disney, but I love Disney history and researching Walt and his Imagineers and all of the things that make Disney what it is today. How did this all happen? And I had watched a documentary and about, the building of some of the rides and so forth. And they kept showing the Imagineer Tony Baxter and his work and how he was the one who had made so many of these rides that I loved, from, Thunder Mountain Railroad and Splash Mountain. And having seen this documentary, it was about 1 week before we went on our Disney member cruise. And so we're going on the cruise, and I'm riding down the elevator. The elevator doors open, and I step out of the elevator and look out, and who is standing in front of me but the man that was in that documentary again and again and again. There's Tony Baxter right in front of me. I mean, I was just gobsmacked. I was absolutely like, the fan that wanted to go bananas. And I tried to keep it under control. I'm thinking, I cannot be this weird stalker woman, with him stuck on the cruise ship with me. And so I kept it under control. And I'm got a hold of my family, and I'm shaking them thinking, he's on the cruise with us. And I tried to keep it under control and kept it under control for several days until we were getting off the ship, and who was stuck right in front of me in line but Tony Baxter. I'm so sorry, but I couldn't control myself any longer. That was my chance, and I had to talk to him. And he was trapped with me. For a good 20 minutes, he was trapped and my victim. And I was able to just pick his brains and share my heart and just share with him how much I loved his life's work. I mean, it was a dream come true for a Disney fanatic like me. So I just felt like the fact that I was allowed to be in the same space and breathe the same oxygen as a person that had given me so much joy, it was absolutely one of those magical moments. And the funny thing is, 2 days later, we're getting on the airplane, and the poor man was stuck in the line with me again. This time I left him alone, but yeah, lightning does strike twice. So
that was a great cruise. Disney member cruises, DVC member cruises, if you ever get to go on one, really are worth it. They're a little more expensive, but you get daily perks and all these great seminar type experiences. And I met a number of Disney artists. I went to their seminar type events, and it was just a really wonderful. But
it's a great way to go one-on-one with.
This particular Disney member cruise, though, was a West Coast one, and one of the reasons why we chose to go on it was we're both from San Francisco area, and we've always wanted to sail under the Golden Gate Bridge.
On the Disney Cruise Line.
On the Disney Cruise Line. And so we flew down to LA where it started, and we came up to our own hometown, came in under the bridge, and I'm showing you right now some of the footage of coming under the bridge. It was magical, and the whole trip had been overcast and foggy, and we're not going to see anything, and often the bridge is enveloped in fog. And that morning when we came in under the bridge, it had parted, the sunrise was coming, and it was just gorgeous. All day long, as we're in the port, we didn't even get off the ship. I stayed on board deck, and I painted some watercolor paintings of the city skyline and right, it just stayed on the ship. It was just incredible. The sun was out the entire day, and then that evening she had timed it so that we were at Palo's restaurant right as we were getting ready to sail back under the bridge and leave. And it was really almost as if it was a movie, and it was timed. The moment we left under the bridge, all the fog came back in. The entire area was enveloped. And it was it was just a gift for us to be there that day. It was wonderful. And so we ended up in Vancouver and flew home. It was just a great, great experience.
We actually were so obsessed with that dream of going on the cruise ship under the Golden Gate Bridge that the year prior, when the cruise ship was coming into port for the season, we decided, my daughter and I, that we wanted to go down and be on the bridge or be near the bridge to watch the ship sail under the Golden Gate. And decided last minute, let's jump in the car and let's go catch it, going under the bridge. We went out to the cliffs overlooking where the Golden Gate is and waited for the ship. Couldn't see it. Moved to another location. Couldn't see it. By then, night had fallen, and we thought, what's happened? It must be already in port. We ended up climbing down a hill, trying to get a good view of the whole bay. In the dark, on the cliffs, over the ocean. It was absolutely treacherous. Come to find out, the ship sailed in the next day.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah. We love Disney. We get a little crazy.
Yeah.
One of the times that we went with your cousin, Eddie and Andrea and their boys, and we went to dinner at the 50s Primetime Cafe. This is one of my most favorite memories. That restaurant's great because all the servers go out of their way to kind of insult you. They're your aunties or your cousins or whatever. They're your family. You're going to grandma's house for a comfort food dinner. That's the theme, the shtick of the restaurant.
And the restaurant is completely decorated in that theme and that style.
It's
it looks
fantastic.
Just like my mother's kitchen.
Just fantastic. Well, this server, the particular one we had this time, her badge said Clarabelle. I don't know if that really was her name or if that was just her character she created. But she put her voice in this high-pitched voice, and she just chided you and insulted you and said, you're just making things difficult for me. And, she would steal ketchup from another table to put on ours while the people still had it in their hand. I mean, it was just hilarious and fun. Well, I had my camera up, and I'm taking a video, and I said, well, tell us a story. And she just sat down right next to Diane, and she began telling a story and then ran off into this song, Supercalifragilistic, I'm the special Disney... I'm going to play it for you right now. Watch this. It is hilarious. We just had a great time.
Where are you there? Everybody?
Just talk. I'm actually recording you. Tell us the story.
Oh, great. Well, once upon a time, there was a very happy Auntie Claire. Well, she was minding her own business, and lo and behold, look who came in. Ran her ragged like a one-arm wallpaper hanger. But do you think she minds? No. Because she's the super conscientious, friendly Disney World employee, squeaky clean, smiling happy, helpful to those boys, working here at Disney World, just like my toys, super conscientious, friendly Disney World employee. Woo!
Okay, so remember, if you're at that restaurant and your kids do not finish their vegetables, they are in trouble because when they order dessert, guess what's going to come back to them is those vegetables covered in whipped cream and sprinkles. So they can finish them then. So this is a fun place. They make it lighthearted, but they are not going to take any smack from you.
All right, one last memory that we want to share before we close this video. This has been a long one, and if you've been sticking with us all this time, thank you so much. I hope you've enjoyed some of these memories and that you'll make some of your own.
Yeah.
And but one last memory we want to share is right before the pandemic hit and the lockdown hit. We had the joy to take my daughter on a birthday trip. It was her gift for her birthday. She always had wanted to go to the Disney Studios. And I finally figured out how you get that reservation. You have to be a D23 member, and I don't know why we weren't one prior, but we are now became a D23 member and got reservations to go on the studio tour. And
this was literally like a month before lockdown.
Yeah, it was February.
Here in California.
Yeah.
And we were able to go through the entire Walt Disney Studios, but part of that is actually going into Walt's office, which to us is hallowed ground. Walking through the tunnels, seeing, the different buildings and the animation wings, and just walking those streets was amazing. But here's our commemorative. Let's see if I can get the glare off it. Well, this is going to have to be edited out. There you go.
We got this print of the studio lot. Just a fun day.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed that.
It was just magical. And for us, that's just one of the boxes to tick in our Disney path of a lifetime of experiencing Disney in every way we can. Every time we find a new way to experience the magic, we want to try it. So
right.
That was just one more way that we just had to try, and lifetime tick box.
Yeah. Well, if you've again, watched all the way through to this point of the video, it must mean you like what we're bringing, what we're talking about. And so if you haven't yet subscribed, why not? If you're watching this long into the video, you really should subscribe, because we talk about a lot of things Disney as well as some other topics that I'm passionate about. So go ahead, like, subscribe, make comments, share some of your memories in the comments. I'd love to communicate back with you and talk about those. That would be great.
And please, big thumbs up. Give us a big thumbs up, okay? That really helps us out.
Yes. And so, thank you for watching. We're going to say goodbye now, and you go and make some of your own Disney memories. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.